Pleasant good evening, beautiful world. I'm Jahson, and we are part of a indie publishing company called Be Soul, here to bring Caribbean music, poetry, and arts as a form of therapeutic support. But tonight we're speaking about anxiety and 10 tips to cope with dealing with anxiety. Journaling to cope with anxiety. Step 1. You have to try and make journaling a habit. Make it a part of your life so it can enhance the quality of your life. It's definitely a recommended stress management tool and has been used in mental health for many years as a way to a cathartic process to deal with anxiety. Step 2, it can help you work through your anxious feelings. So with anxious feelings, it's usually caused by a word called rumination. Rumination, I'll give you a brief description of rumination. It's a process where a person takes a situation and magnifies it in their mind and amplifies it to a point where it's tormenting them and causing them significant concern. That may or may not be usually more than often, it is not as bad as the mind amplifies it or magnifies it to be. So it can help you, when you write, it can help you to reduce the rumination by taking it from the whirling thoughts in your head and putting it on the page. Step 3. Journaling helps us to actively refocus our energies. And instead of focusing on the rumination, we can then refocus our energies and start to think in a way of a more solution-focused rather than problem-centered manner. So journaling helps us to put thoughts into perspective so that we can be solution focused rather than problem centered. Step 4. Use a pen and pad to make your notes. You can use the internet, you can use your laptop or you can use any electronic device. The main trick that I would like to share with you is leave space between your concerns so that you can go back to them and fill in the gaps when your perspective has changed into one that's more positive. I see a vehicle is coming. I'm not going to be anxious about it. We'll just let the car go and okay. Step 5. Write about your concerns until it's out of you. Sometimes this will take 5 minutes, sometimes it takes up to 15 minutes. Within that 5 minutes, make sure the content is focused on the present and not necessarily on the future. Because being what we use the term mindful or mindfulness helps us to be present focused. Future focused thinking, as it is helpful in one area, could tend to create anxiety in another area. So when you're writing a document, try to be more present focused. Step 6 is to recognize the only part that is stressful is your concern for the future. As I said in step 5, we try to be mindful about present. This sometimes realizing that your concern is about the future and today and right now we're okay tends to be very relieving for many of my clients. Step 7. Try to note concerns surrounding your fears and write in a chronological order. In a chronological order, I mean note what your stresses are. So for example, you're preparing for an exam, or you're preparing to pay a bill, or you're preparing to say a speech or things like that. Just thinking about the possible outcome of what that stress could be. So you can pass the exam, you can fail the exam, you can do neutral on the exam. Think of what's the worst thing that could happen there and try to put things in perspective that it wouldn't be that bad compared to what a ruminating mind could be projecting. So step 7 is about chronologically noting what your fears are and the possible outcomes. So you're trying to be rational and rationalize your thoughts and your concerns around things like that. Step 8. You can then use the information, reread it, and find a way to rethink, reshape the way you are processing that information, and use that opportunity with a fresh page to put a fresh perspective on what you are concerning yourself around. So it's about you taking control of your thoughts rather than your thoughts taking control of you. And step 9, start to critically question these concerns. So you're going deeper rather than just allowing these concerns to ruminate. You start to critically question them. Hey, is this helpful to me, for me to think this way? Maybe I should be thinking something more positively. Is it helpful because I'm not sleeping? It's allowing me not to eat. I'm getting tightness in my chest. I'm feeling like I'm feeling a lot of anxious feelings. I'm sweating in my palms. Is it helpful? And the thoughts are what are creating these physical symptoms. So is it helpful for me to think this way? Can I think of a way that is more nurturing and think of a way that brings more physical benefits to me? And that's the way you can challenge yourself. Step 10, within critical thinking, try and examine these, what we call on psychological terms, cognitive distortions that you are creating within your mind, and try to see how you can change these cognitive distortions and realize the stressful thought patterns that are coming out of these cognitive distortions, and see how you can work to alleviate these cognitive distortions. You can do that by breathing deeply when you start to feel anxious. You can do that by realizing that anxiety is an emotion that really is there to prepare you for activity rather than to make you scared and make you concerned about what is wrong. You can develop that cognitive distortion by thinking, this is some way supporting me rather than this is some way being a threat to me. And hopeful, if you find that you have concerns or you've used writing to help with anxiety, please share with us in the segment below. We'd be glad to hear from you. We all live and learn together. Please remember, we are writing books to create awareness. We are generating funding in order to do more work to support people, Caribbean people, with managing mental health, to support ourselves with building a brand and building a name and bringing poetry, Caribbean art forms to the world as where we deserve to. So next week, the emphasis will be on how to care for someone, a loved one who has dementia. I am Jahson Bob for Be Soul, and blessed love.